story.
Yeah, the villain origin story.
As long as it's not going to be like Wolverine, because that was a really shit origin story.
What are you drinking?
Cup of tea.
A cup of tea? Just normal tea?
It's got whiskey in it. That would be bogging.
What with tea? With
Whiskey
tea in
and
it?
tea? No.
And then he didn't say anything, and for some reason I don't know why, but I went, "Have you cheated on me?" And he literally went, "Oh yeah, I have," and like all this sort of stuff.
I hate that.
So he like,
What a dick.
Penny Cook, which is outside of Edinburgh for all of you non-Penny Cook listeners. So I was having to
the
do...
two Penny Cook listeners that are your mum and dad. Oh, hello, friends. Welcome to the Sad Girls Club podcast. Yay! Have you been chucked? Patriarchy getting you down? Cry behind your pal at Amy's garage and ruin the New Year's party
Again.
Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Sad Girls Club podcast, where you are allowed to be, well, sad about the big things and the wee things. So to kick us off tonight, our theme is actually going to be, well, because I've realised, like, we hope that people who have seen the original Sad Girls Club like are listening and all that sort of stuff, but we don't know that. We don't know that they know anything to do with it. No. So I thought we would go into the lore this evening. My boyfriend hates when I say that for many things. He's like, not everything's lore.
And I'm
like, core?
Yeah, like Sad Girls Club core. That's so Sad Girls Club core.
Just like us sending
so
pictures
French
of us
core.
crying back and forth to each other. That's core. So we're going to start off with the backstory of why we're here and why this all started. And
the villain origin story.
Yeah, the villain origin story.
As long as it's not going to be like Wolverine, because that was a really shit origin story.
Oh,
I didn't mind that one, to be honest. It's before your time.
So I've
before your time.
Yeah, he's got bone claws in it. It's a whole thing.
Wait, is that...
So like his claws are like titanium alloyed or something like that?
Producer
Vibranium?
Made out of adamantium.
Yeah, I knew it was like a made up metal.
Yeah.
Thanks, Producer Paul.
Adamantium claws.
Adamant.
But in the movie, they make it that they're like bone claws that he has, and then eventually somebody went and put metal on them.
Okay.
Situation.
That's I'm bored. Get on.
So you should have been here for our Guilty Pleasures podcast last week.
I was just staring like, what is happening?
Emma actually spoke about Alvin and the Chipmunks the whole time, so I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Still don't understand.
Excuse me, it was a guilty pleasure, but moving on.
Oh well, that was last week's episode.
Anyway.
And I'm here now, so
yeah, you've got, Queen's got FOMO about the whole situation. And that's why you're here not well today.
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking?
Cup of tea.
A cup of tea? Just normal tea?
It's got whiskey in it. I'm joking.
That would be bogging.
What with tea? With
Whiskey
tea in
and
it?
tea? No.
I always think like a green tea like solves all
issues.
Green tea, peppermint tea.
Yeah. Yes, completely. Or chamomile.
Yeah. I've also got a thing in my head
tea.
that like iron brew, because it's a hangover cure,
It will cure
it
you.
will cure like
Have you ever
illness.
had Lucozade when you're hungover?
I'm not a Lucozade girl.
Lucasade's for when you're not well.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lucozade
and
is
also
medicine.
when you're hungover, it works. I'm telling you, it is.
The
my
glucose.
go-to. Yeah.
Has it got like electrolytes in it? Or
Yeah,
something?
it just boosts you up again, basically.
Okay.
I think it's...
Look at us constantly,
But not
talking
suitable
about what we're
for
supposed to be talking about.
Replacement of
Yeah,
fluids lost during diarrhea. I'm pretty sure it says that on the bottle.
It's not suitable for when you've got diarrhea.
It's like not suitable for loss of fluids during diarrhea.
Oh. Hannah's like, oh no.
No, I honestly, I've never. Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, interesting. Well, anyway,
Origin story, go for it.
back to the origin story. So, I guess that means I have to start.
Yes.
And that was not on purpose because I wrote these prompts in the car. So I didn't think this through. Usually I throw it to one of you guys, but I guess it's me. So I wrote Sad Girls Club, I want to say like 7 years ago.
Many moons ago.
But like then COVID happened, so it's like been delayed and delayed and delayed and things like that. But pretty much I got horrendously chucked. I was in... Emma, you're the only one that actually knew him.
I did know him.
Yeah. How was that for you?
Unfortunate.
He was like, I think in general, like he was fine.
Was he like good looking?
No.
I thought he was like really good looking.
No.
Then I would have probably not thought that.
No, but he was like, so completely not my type. But I don't think I even have a type.
Did you not say he was a bit of a gym bunny?
Oh.
Like he was built
Like took all the protein powders.
See, I hate that. I
like
hate
was
that.
on bulks, was on
I hate
cuts,
that.
like all this sort of stuff.
I
So-
think there's a line where you go, oh, like you've got a decent body, and then you're just like, why do you look like a Dorito?
So he
Why
then
are
was
you
like,
trying
He looked like, he did look like a Dorito.
And
One
I
of the cheesy,
realised-
tangy ones.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
that. I'm like, eat a meal.
Yeah.
yeah, so
There's no need for like
Chicken and rice.
everything to be powdered.
No.
all chicken and rice, loads of eggs all the time.
Oh yeah, and they'll go through like 12 eggs.
Stinky boy.
Protein,
But then,
protein,
like, so this is the thing,
protein.
like when he was on a bulk, loved him. It was so much fun because it just meant like you got to go out to eat all the time and like you got to like have fun.
Okay.
And then when he was on a cut, boring fucking bastard. Like, and he was a boring fucking bastard in the first place.
Okay.
But anyway, but I was obsessed with him, moved in with him, all this sort of stuff. I think it was because he like chased me, and I'd never
Okay.
really had that before. So he made a
Yeah.
real point about wanting to go out with me. And I think that there's a weird thing that I've now discovered is like, because he looked the way he looked, because he was this big like gym guy, loads of other people told me he was attractive. Like loads of people came to me
Right.
and was pure, is
He's
that
pure
your
good looking?
boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
think-
God.
Sometimes when people look like that, people go face blind.
Yeah.
So it's just like you go, oh, right. And then they look at the body and kind of go, oh, you're a good looking guy. But in reality,
It's not even about
They're
that.
not.
Have
And
a
you know
bit
what?
of-
It was all
it's
men.
the
It was
co-
other men
Yeah,
Yeah,
telling
but that's
me.
the thing. That's men boosting up men. I
But
didn't
it's
think
the
he was good looking.
personality. You could
Completely,
You could
yeah.
be the most attractive person in the world, but if you're boring, then you're boring.
Honestly. So that was it. Like, and I realised as well, you do that thing now where you go like, was it fun or am I fun? And I think that was a big
Yes.
thing. Like, I was really fun. I brought a bit of a personality. He didn't have like a lot of family here as well. So like,
Right.
he was pure brought into my family, and like everybody, I mean, they thought he was okay, but they were like nice to him and like would chat to him and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, so anyway, so we were living with each other, and I thought that was it. And I was like, okay, like this is endgame. And at the time I was 23, 24, which in my head at that time meant like
Babies.
not even babies, but I was like, right, you need to get your fucking act together because you're 23 and look at you like living with someone and all this sort of stuff. Exactly. And
That's
then
hilarious. You're just a baby.
I know, Jesus Christ. And he was a bouncer as well. And I always remember saying to my mum, being like, oh, we spend all our time together. The only time I don't see him is when he's at work or when I'm at work. And so then I would come home late, but he'd be already out at work. And then like I'd wake up in the morning and he'd still be sleeping. And one morning I woke up and he was sitting in the living room, like really dramatic, with like his head in his hands and like all this sort of stuff. And he was like, I was like, are you okay? And he was one of those guys, like, you know what, if you asked him if he was okay too many times, he'd be like, why don't you ask me if I'm okay? So I just was like, are you okay? And then he was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I was like, okay, I'll just leave it. Honestly, I was about to go about my day because I was
I
like,
would have been
okay,
like, fab, no
you
bother,
fucking
I'm
told me.
checked in.
And then, but he was like pure head in his hands and like all this sort of stuff, like really wanting me to ask. And then so I was pure,
Are you
right,
sure?
are you sure? Like what's happened? And then he didn't say anything. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I went, have you cheated on me? And he literally went, oh yeah, I have. And like all this sort of
I
stuff.
hate that.
So he, like,
What a dick.
like never like was going like, you know what I mean, was going to tell me but wasn't going to tell me and all this sort of stuff, like made it all about him.
Yeah. It's just so, well, all right then, like,
But
what do you want me to say?
I remember having like an outer body experience of being like, I know I need to shout right now, but I actually wasn't, like I was like a bit like, all right, okay, because my brain was already doing that girl thing of going, how do I fix this? Like, how do I fix this? Because if this isn't fixed, in my mind at that point, my life's fucking over. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know what to do. I'd have to move back in with my mum. I'd have to admit to all my pals who didn't like him that, yeah, he is a fucking dick and like all this sort of stuff. So I was like, right. And then so I remember like shouting, screaming, all this sort of stuff. Him just sort of sitting there being like, yeah, no, I do deserve this, don't I? Like, never, like, not once going like, oh no, don't leave or anything like that. And I sort of like packed a bag, like literally put like a t-shirt in a bag, like me pretending to leave, and then like left. And I'd so much didn't want to like tell my, like some of like my best pals what had happened, because then you can't go back on that either. Like you can't be, because I'm still waiting on him like running after me and all this sort of stuff. and doesn't seem to be happening. And then so I phone a girl that literally, like, she's one of my best pals now, but literally I think I'd maybe known her for like
Not that
9
long.
months or something like that, working in hospitality with her, which then means you only actually really became pals like a couple of months ago. Like, you've only just started going for drinks.
Yeah.
And I phoned her, and she was in our student halls, like, 'cause she was younger than me. And I went up to her student halls and sort of was like,
In that tiny wee room. Like,
honestly, with the fucking bathroom in the room with you and all that sort of stuff.
Just a pot of pesto pasta.
But she's looking at me going like, you're going to forgive him, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, probably. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did all this sort of stuff that I was like, I changed my profile picture, and I did like all these
fucking
that will
show
fucking show 'em and all this sort of stuff.
Changed in a relationship. It's complicated.
I was so in denial. Like, I was just like, I need to fix this, or else like my life's fucking over. So I need, and I just, that's the thing as well. Like, if he had maybe given me an inch of, oh yeah, I'm sorry, then I think I would have been fucking back there being like, right, okay, he said he's sorry, and I'll give it 3 weeks until, like, you know what I mean, I'll stay at my mum's for like 3 weeks, and then I'll come back and I'll be like, right, okay, like, don't do this again, and like all that fucking bullshit stuff. But yeah, like, went to work that night and everything. Like, went to work that night. My mum and dad were in my work for dinner. I had to like pretend that nothing had happened. And then, yeah, bizarre. My mum was like, "You're a very good actress."
Did
when
she
found
not
out.
know? Like,
I don't know. She sort
I
of was
feel
like,
like pure mother's instinct.
Yeah,
with
everyone
these
knows
things.
everything. She can just look at me and
My
be
mum
like, "You're
could
not
sense
well."
it.
I think if she asked like one more question, like, I would have broke.
Yeah.
But she did, and I think I was maybe like waiting for her to do that. But she was at like a sort of like dinner
Social
with
event,
pals, so she
aye.
just sort of was like, "Oh, you all right?" And I was like, "Yes, I am fine."
As you're like fully crying.
Like, I went back and stayed that night as well. Like, I went back to the flat that we were sharing, like, just because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And then I think that was it. I went back, and he still somehow, he just was like, "Yeah, I know I'm shit, aren't I?"
Peace.
Like, didn't once do any of that, like, all this sort of shit. Anyway, too much to talk about him.
Yeah.
But because, and and then there was more drama as well of like, I then found out that it wasn't just him cheating on me. It was that he had like a secret girlfriend. I still don't know if that like secret girlfriend was a thing in the sort of 3 weeks that we were like
If there was
on a
overlap,
break.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like the girl he cheated with, then sort of he went like, "Oh, well, you'll do, because I've not got anybody now."
It is definitely a thing with guys. As soon as they break up with someone, they don't know like time for themselves. It's like on to the next.
Honestly, so that's it. I'm like, either he was having this like sort of emotional like thing. It was like I assume
Just sitting for 3 weeks with his head in his hands on the couch.
being like, "I'm so shit."
Ask me how I am.
I mean, like, I don't know if he was having like an emotional, like, affair's too big of a word. Do you know what I mean? But like, I think like he was having this emotional relationship with her while we were going out with each other, because she was like a regular at the club that he worked or something like that.
I fully think they were shagging when you were.
Yeah.
Well, obviously
But then
they
I'm
were,
going, then
but it was
why
more
have you
than
then like
once.
randomly admitted to, like, I don't, it all doesn't add up. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, aye. And then so that was it. Like, when I eventually was like, you know what? We're actually done now, because I like think that was it. Like, somebody that, oh yeah, no, that was it. That my pal had access to her Facebook page and was able to send me a photo of them together. And then that's when I went, you know what? Fuck you. Like, you know what? Now I'm going to go and get all my stuff and like get out of the house and like all that sort of stuff. But that was it. Like, so when it was done, it was done. And I literally like went and got all my stuff, and it was like weeks of crying beforehand and all this. And I went and got my stuff and I left and I blocked him on everything. And then there was like weird, like, because that seemed to me to be like what he wanted. He wanted to sort of like not break up with me and not be like the super shit guy, but also like be rid of me. Like, for me to sort of, and I think that's why I didn't go quietly, was because I was like, no, this is what you want. You want me just to like disappear and you
Yeah.
never
And that's
have
not
to think
happening, because he couldn't handle his own shit. He couldn't go, "Do you know what, Hannah? I'd made a mistake. I did a bad thing, and I don't want to be with you anymore. So I did this thing. It was a very bad thing, but I think we need to call it a day. I've been a shit guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like he never actually said like I would like to break up with you. Like
he was just
sort
like,
of-
I've cheated on you, and now you've gone, and I'm just gonna start dating this girl instead of just fucking dealing with his shit.
Yeah.
He didn't, and it was to push you away. It was to because he wanted you to go quietly.
Then
and you
you
were like,
wrote a play.
No,
Then
but
you
then
wrote to
the,
play.
the weirdest thing about the whole like go quietly thing, because I was like, right, that's it. I blocked him. I did text his mum before I blocked her as well. That literally was like, here's the things that your son has done, and like just like sent that, and then that was it. But anyway,
When you get your mum involved.
I know. And then she fucking came back being like, well, I don't think either of yous have behaved appropriately.
What
and
have you done?
I think because I did like smash things in his flat before I left.
And
I
Yeah.
didn't move for the 3
But
weeks
then
he
that-
was on the city.
But she literally came back being like, blah, blah,
you
blah.
broke his 18th birthday Prosecco glass. How dare you?
But then she was like, because he was a year younger than me. So I think she was still treating him like a teenager almost.
Yeah.
So she came back being like, I don't think any of you have behaved appropriately. If anything continues, like I will be contacting your mother.
away.
And I literally was like, here's my mum's number. I sent her my mum's number and literally went like,
You're like,
she's got some things to say about your son also, thank you.
If you would like tickets to the panel, they're here.
But honestly, like I was just like, what? And my mum was bare, give me your number. But yeah, so no, so I eventually after that went like, fuck it, I don't want to speak to him anymore. A couple of weeks later, like I actually started seeing David and like all this sort of stuff. So like life started, I was like, I got myself a flat, all this. And then that's when he got a job outside my work. We're 2 doors down from my work. There's a club and I used to have to walk past him every single night. And then, oh yeah, that was it as well. A suitcase showed up on my mum and dad's doorstep. That was like my suitcase that I'd left it. So my
Your criminal minds.
my thing was like, if I've left it there, it's burn it. I don't care, right? Like
Yeah.
if it's been left in your flat after I've taken all my stuff, it's dead to me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
So I left this like random. My mum had bought me this like novelty suitcase that looked like an old fashioned trunk, and it was like bright pink. And like I never used it because it was like a bit of a riddy using it, and so I left it there. And then that showed up on my mum and dad's doorstep one day with like a bunch of my like tights and like a random, you know what I mean, like just random like one sock that I'd left and like all this.
Knickers that don't have the
bin it,
gusset
stop being a
anymore.
prick.
Literally bin it.
bin
But
it.
then what makes me even more go like, you're a fucking psychopath, is that like he didn't drive. So he was
He wheeled them.
Well,
Big trunky.
we lived in Bridgeton.
Chunky, he's sitting on it. running down the road.
And then I'm going like, right, so I've finally given you what you want. Like I'm out the picture.
His mum is like pulling it on the street, like Wayne's in the airport.
Am I going too fast?
Slow down, mummy's.
But I'm honestly going, so you've got public transport that we lived in Bridgeton to get from my mum and dad's house from Bridgeton. You have to walk to the train station, get on the train, and then like the nearest train is like far away. So he's then had to walk through my mum and dad's area with this bright pink suitcase, all to like prove a point. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. And then like so there was just weird stuff of him then still being like, I know I said I didn't want to play with this toy, but I don't want anyone else playing with this toy.
Yeah. So here's your holy tights back.
Yeah, it was really fucking bizarre. But anyway, so I remember so that was it. Me and my pals I was sad. I had another couple of pals in work who were also sad and wanted to drink wine. And that's where we coined the phrase Sad Girls Club. We were like, oh, this is like a sad girls club. This is fun. This is blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and then so it always was just like in my head. And one of the girls in particular, like she was losing her dad. Her dad was really unwell and like bigger things than me. And I kept being like, I can't write that story. That's not my story to tell. Their stories are not my stories. Like I can't do them justice.
Yeah.
And also I've never experienced that. Like I don't want to sit. And I did that thing as well where I was going like, oh, maybe I'll go and talk to like victims of sexual abuse and maybe I'll write something and it all just felt really, really fake from me. Like really. And I was going like, I think I just need to write down what I know, which is a lot of fucking first world problems, like a lot of stuff that's like and I think that's why that comes through in the show of like, we can't constantly compare what we're sad about to other things and blah, 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 because in my work, and I remember I said that to my mum one day, like, I just couldn't stop crying. And like my mum was pure like, are you okay? And I was like, I've just sort of realised like, if this is the saddest I've ever been. This is the worst I've ever felt. But if this is the saddest I've ever felt, this is a really good life that I've got going on. Because if the worst I've felt is some like piece of shit guy, like making me sound like a stereotype and like crying in the walk-in freezer at work and all this sort of stuff, then like I'm good. I'm great. And I think there was something really like funny about the fact that like I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew I just needed to like feel this really, really deeply and get through it and just keep like, and then like, oh, and then a couple of weeks I'll be fine. Like, you know, a couple of months I'll be fine. But I think like it was interesting watching other people react to how I was feeling. And that's all sort of in the show as well. Like it's like, oh, well, we can't be in the world feeling like this because this is ridiculous and other people don't like it. So I guess we have to like make a club for this. So yeah, that's sort of the origin. Oh wait, no, there's a really, really good bit that I never tell anybody. Sorry, I've been talking so fucking long. That so I was at the Fringe for a work in progress. Emma saw a work in progress.
I did.
Was it good?
It was good.
So there was another show that I wrote.
It wasn't good, guys. It was really awful.
No one came to it. So
I came.
Yeah,
twice.
Did you come twice?
Yeah.
Oh,
came
great.
to the Fringe, and then I came when you did it at the comedy festival.
Oh, the Glasgow Comedy Festival one was good. That was good.
Both of them were good.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so I wrote another play and I did it at the comedy festival, and this is all after the fact. Like, we've been through the breakup. Me and David have started going out. We're doing this show. It's all good times. And it was the last day of the comedy festival that my friend Sarah and her boyfriend Cameron were there. And it was sort of like the last day of the festival. It sort of went out with like was it a sizzle, not a bang? Like that. It sort of ended and we went like, oh, okay, that's it, done. And then I think Dan was on like the first
Immediately
like
got
plane back to Sky. Like pretty much was about, okay, bye. Because Dan was in it with me. And yeah, so like it was me, David, my pal Sarah, my pal Cameron. Don't get me wrong, we had a great time. We ended up in the cat house in Glasgow like many hours later. It was fab. But when we were pretty sober, my pal Cameron turned to me and was like, are you writing anything else? Like what's next? Which is the fucking worst thing to ask any of your creative friends.
To any of your creative
is like
friends.
when they've just finished something, don't ask them what's next because we don't fucking know. But for once I sort of had an answer and I was like, oh, I'm playing around with this thing called like Sad Girls Club and I don't really know. And I was like, oh, I had this experience on the train the other day where I was like crying because of a bad review that we got. And I just couldn't stop sobbing on the train. I was fucking knackered. The Fringe is mental. It's a bit of a monster. And I was like crying on the train. And this woman started talking to me. And she literally was like, she was like, don't worry, don't be embarrassed about crying. I've just lost my husband and I cry all the time now. And I'm just back from a wee wedding. And she spoke away to me the whole time, gave me some tissues, and then like started reading her book. And it wasn't till like a day later that I went, that was so lovely.
Yeah.
That was a lovely experience. And so I told my pal Cameron and Sarah this story. And I went, yeah, so that happened. And so there's this Sad Girls Club thing. And then he literally looked at me and was like, well, that's the fucking play. Like he was like, that's the thing you need to write down.
That's nice.
That's a really, I've always
Well done,
forget
Cameron.
about that.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks to a man. I joke.
But yeah, so that's my origin story.
Oh,
What?
I came up with a really good idea.
What?
Could we like have a sad girl search for the women on the train?
Honestly, I couldn't pick this woman out of a lineup now. Like,
Oh,
That'd be so.
if you were the women on the train.
I know, were you the woman on the train with, what did I even look like then? Had a little brown bob, a little brown short bob.
Did you take a picture of yourself crying on the train that day?
No, I
We could
didn't.
just put it out.
Because
as
it wasn't the
were you there?
content then. I couldn't even tell you what I looked like or what she looked like, or anything. It happened in such a fucking blur. That it wasn't till like days later that I was like, oh, that was actually quite profound.
She was a
Yeah.
nice lady.
But
So
yeah,
then
I'm gonna ask you what, like, quickly. Well, I don't know how much time I've got.
we have
5 minutes.
I know Hannah spoke for a long time.
15 minutes.
quickly, I'll start with you, Amy. What is your lore to Sad Girls Club?
My lore to Sad Girls Club was... Okay, so you were born and then...
You dated this guy.
Maddie said to me, who is mutual friends, Maddie said, oh, I think I might have a job for you because I went to a workshop thing and I was still in uni at the time. And then I said, yippee, okay. And then I went on a Zoom call with you. And I got like really nervous about it.
You read it before the Zoom call, right?
Yeah, I had like a quick skim through it.
Did you not even read it?
I would have read it. Like, I think I would. I think I did read it.
She just asked Maddie. Maddie, is it good? And Maddie was like, aye. And she's like, cool.
Yeah,
So then
I
she just
had
went
a
on the
quick,
Zoom.
like, skim through it, and then I had a Zoom call, and then you said, oh wait, do you also play guitar? And I said, yeah, I do. And then you said, okay, do you want to do a panto as well? And I was like, well, double or nothing.
I might as well.
So then we done, and then we spent the summer here. No, met yous, had a read through with Dan on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Yous got a coffee, which I had an allergic reaction to. Got
Which
too
she
nervous and
didn't tell us
anxious
about.
in front of new people to say I was having an allergic reaction. So just went to the bathroom, drank loads of tap water from the
You
ate
didn't
loads
even
of
like have water from like the kitchen towel.
ate
you
loads
just,
of
like-
mints.
Does that help?
It's like different things going down your throat other than
Milk.
milk. Because I only had like a sip of it, so at that point it's kind of reversible, but died a little bit, then came back. And then spent that. Honestly, was such a fun summer rehearsing for that. Like
It was fucking hot
it was
that summer.
roasting,
Oh my
but being in the
God, yes.
garden and all that.
Oh, yeah, we'd go
rehearsing
round
was so
to-
much fun.
For panto rehearsals, Hannah, I think you missed that we'd go
Yeah.
round to like my mum and dad's house and rehearse in their back garden. Then we had like my niece running around all the
yeah.
time.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
she's
I
like,
think
Making cat noises.
being a fucking weirdo.
Hi, Stella.
I love her so much, but she's a fucking weirdo.
And then the fringe was just so much fun. I spent all of my Isa at that fringe.
I've still got $2,000 on a credit card debt that
Yeah.
on a credit
I
card
had
debt.
saved
All the
up,
baby debt,
I'd
everybody.
saved up maybe £25 to £50 a month, and I spent £700 at the fringe.
Just
Oh,
on
that was
Tesco
my-
meal deals.
Tesco
like,
meal deals.
Not even on Tesco meal deals.
Fucking extortionate chips.
Yes.
you
Just
guys went
all
to the
the
dance
food.
quite a lot.
wait.
All the food.
And then, oh my god, also, you might not know, I bagged an invite to Dan's wedding.
Oh yeah, you have. Has he actually texted you?
He's not texted me.
For the listeners and the watchers, Dan was our director. That's made it sound like he's dead. He's not dead. But he was our director for Sad Girls Club.
Yeah. And then I've been going over in my head trying to justify my invite. I'm like, no, but we really bonded in the car over music, and we did, and I did do the panto with him as well. So, but yeah,
You're
and
Emma's
it-
+1, so it's okay.
Yeah,
No, she's not.
Is she
Oh.
not?
Oh.
Oh,
Just get
So-
your own wee invite.
does that mean you get a +1 as well? You can bring
Eh.
Hannah. I can bring Hannah.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll all squeeze in the
Full
one
gang.
bed.
Hannah, what's your lore for Sad Girls Club?
So we knew each other sort of through mutual friends, and I can remember you messaged me and said, "Oh, there's a possible workshop date for."
That made me sound like really official having a
Yeah.
workshop. I spent
Yeah.
far too much money on a rehearsal room.
I can remember being like, "Oh, this is quite like impressive," and then
It's not.
my opinion quickly changes. So just before that, I thought I had COVID.
Yes, I remember.
And I said to you, I literally couldn't walk the height of myself. I had the most horrific cough. So I was like, look, I've done tests, but it's negative, but I've done like a big boy test. This is when you could still send away for them. And I said, I can still come along. But I was like, please say no. Because I thought, if I go to this, I'm going to cough.
Well, because it was the first year of the Fringe sort of
Yeah.
properly after COVID, so,
So
everything was
everything was-
still really careful.
Yeah. And I can remember going, well, if I go and give COVID to you all, you won't have a cast. So I thought,
Yeah.
I really can't do that. So eventually,
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't-
surprised I still asked you to do it since you couldn't come to the workshop.
I was a bit like, oh, I've not heard anything. And I was getting really stressed about it because I was going, well, I need to either stay in my flat, because at the time I lived in Glasgow, or I needed to move back in with my mum and dad. And I thought, well, I'd move back in with my mum and dad if I can do the fringe. I
Yes.
thought I don't really want to just move back if there's no fringe.
Yeah.
So then I kind of had to message you and go, hi, do you need me or
Like,
can I stay in my flat? And you chose me, so that was very
Yes.
nice. During rehearsals, you were saying, oh, they were so fun. For the first week, I was full of the COVID. I had
yeah.
real COVID this time and felt like horrendous.
No, but it was like what's the aftermath of COVID? There's
Like
a word for
Long
that.
COVID.
I think I still had COVID.
No, because you were like
You were
not-
off for a week.
Yeah, because you were. That was it. Because you
It was
missed the
supposed to
start.
be a 2-week
No,
rehearsal.
because then that was it. Because you thought you had COVID for the workshop,
Which I didn't.
which you
Yeah.
didn't.
But to be honest, I
And
couldn't
then you
have
had
gone to the
COVID.
workshop regardless.
No,
Yeah.
100%. You were not well.
Yeah.
But then you actually had COVID
Yes.
when we like kicked off rehearsals, and I was like on like just twitching, being
Yeah.
like, "What have I done? Why?
Yeah.
What's going on?" So then we like rehearsed the panto that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
For the first week, and then
And
slotted
Sad
you in,
Girls,
and you
yeah.
were like, "Yeah, I'm fine, test negative," but like you were just like that, no energy.
I have
Like
never
COVID
felt
way.
as bad as that, I think, ever.
Yeah.
And I was commuting from
Pennycook.
Pennycook,
Yeah.
which is outside of Edinburgh, for all of you non-Pennycook listeners. So I was having to
the
do...
two Pennycook listeners that are your mum and dad.
So I was having to commute from Pennycook into Glasgow, and I can remember being on that long train, just going, I'm going to die on this train. And people will just leave me there.
Yeah.
And I'll be just going back and forth. So that was sort of mine.
But you were
Thank you.
working during it as well.
Yes, for the entire run of the Fringe, I worked in a pub. And once again, I've never been that tired before.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
absolutely knackering. And I also spent £700. I also got a tax rebate.
Yeah, no, that was it. You got a tax rebate.
Luckily, I got a tax rebate just beforehand. And when that letter came through,
You're like,
yes,
ah,
thank you.
Right, that's my budget. for
Honestly,
Friday.
£700 on.
And I went,
on
Chataway.
shite. Uh-huh.
yeah. I thought, I've not even, I didn't buy anything.
I was dating someone that summer as well, so we would like go through Edinburgh, do a panto, do
Sad
the
Girls.
play.
Yeah.
I'd go on a date and then get the night bus home. Just
You could
like,
get the bus home for like £1 though, could you not?
for free.
For free? Lovely.
God
Yeah.
bless
I know.
Yeah.
Scotland.
But then,
No,
yeah, but then the bus, you have to get the bus into town and then a bus to yours, no?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's too long.
No.
It was worth it.
For her summer loving.
I still have a residual Sad Girls injury.
Do you?
Yes. Last day of the
did you do?
Fringe, I was
Trauma.
walking up. Yeah, trauma. Yeah.
It's all in here.
In TV, I was going up one of the spiral staircases, and this was sober. I rolled one of my feet and like bashed it, and went, oh, that was really painful. Kind of went, never mind. Walked it off, and then the next day I could hardly walk.
I think I remember you being like, I think I've really hurt my ankle, and I was like, I can't give you any sympathy. Like,
Yeah.
not even sympathy. I was like, I just don't have time for any illness or injuries. Like, I need you to do this show.
The next day I went, I've really done something, and I took my sock off, and my whole foot was bruised. But it had gone from like the top of my foot to the bottom of my
What,
foot.
you just rolled it?
I literally just landed on it funny. I didn't think anything of it, and then went, oh shit, I've really done something. And I can remember saying to my mum, I was like, this has happened. And she went, well, there's nothing much I can do about that. So what would you like me to do?
That's my favourite thing, like as like a little teacher, when kids come up to you and they're like, Emma, nah, 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 nah. And I'm like, okay, but what would you like me to do about
Yeah,
it?
what can I do?
I had a full
And
on
they go,
broken foot. I could hardly walk.
But Hannah,
So
what do you
just while
want
we're
me to do about
sitting
it?
for half
my
the
mum
show.
then went, right, so I'm going to get you a nice lunch. Do you want to chum me to Greg's? I was like, okay, fab.
I bought it at Greg's.
Chum
What
you.
chum me to Greg's?
That's one of my favourite things that Hannah says.
Chum.
Chum
It
you.
means like, be
Like,
your friend.
I'll be your
with
friend.
you.
Oh.
Oh.
I bought it at Greg's.
What is a chum?
Can I have a chum,
items.
But I'm like,
So-
I was like, that's so cute when you said that.
Okay.
And my friend Kelly, who's a nurse, I kind of went, oh, I've still got this like little lumpy bit on my foot, and she felt it, and she went, yeah, I think you've maybe broken something.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Ah, great.
So yeah, thank you for breaking my foot.
My mother would use this phrase in this situation. Elaine
Yeah.
would go, that's the universe telling you to sit down. She says that anytime I get sick or like stressed or I hurt myself, she's pure. That's your Gran Stella telling you to sit down. Gran Stella's dead. That's her telling you to sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah.
I'm
And I'm
really
pure like, oh, and then I
Yeah.
go, thank you, I will sit down. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Emma, your lower?
Saving the longest one.
I know,
for
that's why I was like, I don't know if we have time for all your...
No, I don't mean the longest story. I just mean the person who's been a part of the
Yeah,
war.
because you knew
I was
me
there when it
before
happened.
it and all that.
I was there when it
jazz.
happened. There's a quote in the show that the word
Oh,
was
yeah.
changed, but it's my quote. I said it. I said it to you.
Wait, what is it?
No, you need to explain the bit. I don't know if I've said this before. It rings a bell. But so I'd been patching everyone because I was like, I'm going to get back together with him. I'm going to get back together with him. And then I didn't. And then it was like Christmas time. And then so Emma sent me a card being like, Merry Christmas, Hannah and Connor. And I was like, oh fuck, like I now need to start explaining myself to people.
Did you
And
tip X out the corner?
Emma needs to send me a new card.
I need to bleep his name. Oh well. There's many Connors. Yeah, and then you then text me, I think, to be like, did you get your card? Like,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. What did he get you? Blah, blah, blah. And then I have to be like, oh, yeah, so this
That's
happened.
also
And
such a peak Emma way to find out that you've broken up with him.
I know.
Start
Because she
sending
sent me
people
a
cards.
card. And then that was it. And then I was that sort of person that, like, I needed to be doing something every night. Like,
So we went to the cinema to see The
we went
Greatest Showman.
So I was like, we went to see The Great Showman. I knew nothing
The
about The
Greatest
Great
Showman
Showman.
is a separate lore in itself. I fucking love that.
But literally, so we went to see The Great Showman. I didn't even know it was a fucking musical.
Neither
like,
did I.
we just
And I'm
sort
a
of were
pure
like,
musical gal.
we just needed to like meet up for her to be like, are you okay? And like, especially I was like, I needed one day where I wasn't drinking, like,
Yeah.
because I was drinking a
No,
lot.
The Greatest Showman will sober you right up.
Honestly, I remember watching it
This
being
is
like,
where
what
you
the
wanna
fuck
go.
are we watching? And then, of course, cried at it as well. Never. And then that was at the. We were then in your car after it, and like proper, like doing the debrief and all this sort of stuff. And that's when you said,
And it was you were telling me that it was like,
he's
I'm depressed. And
and
I was like,
he's-
listen, bad things can happen, but it doesn't give you the right to be a cunt.
I don't think you said cunt.
I did say cunt.
Did you say cunt?
Because I've got a motivational poster
Oh, okay.
I made, which a picture of myself when I was going through a really, really hard time, and it's a picture of me like this.
Sorry, like what?
For the listeners, it's a really ridiculous face. And I remember I was going through a really hard time, looked at the photo, and I just started laughing and crying. And I was like, do you know what? My life's fucking shit. And I'm having the worst time. And that's a picture of me that's been put online. But you know what? At least I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. At least not.
True.
And that just made me decide that like bad things can happen to people. It doesn't give you the right. I know that sometimes it's people grieve differently, but I just don't think it gives you an excuse to be a bad person and to be a cunt. And I think because my character Coda says cunt quite a lot.
Yeah.
There's a whole monologue about it.
That was a new thing that we wrote in, actually. That came out of the workshop that none of yous were at. You were invited, you didn't come. You were out.
But yeah, and then it gets substituted for the word dick. And yeah. But I also, the very, very, very first ever read through table read, I was
With
there.
yet again a completely other set of
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
All those women had babies by the time I was wanting to do the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was before COVID. Had
Way
a
before
big
COVID.
table read because I thought I was like, oh, maybe it's like an Oran Moore type show or something like that.
Well, it was eventually.
I know exactly. But I was like, play a pie in a pint. Like that's where I was thinking. So I got like sort of a bunch of women who were sort of play a pie a pint actresses and things like that, and they were fantastic. But honestly, by the time after COVID, all this sort of stuff, by the time I went to do it, every single one of them had children.
Not me though.
And I know, and I was like, can't ask you guys to do it.
So
I know.
I feel blessed to have been a part of the
Why were you not in the workshop?
origin story.
Did I not ask you?
No, you didn't.
I
Hannah.
know.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I'm surprised, if I'm honest.
It's okay.
I
You
don't
didn't
know
even
why.
ask me to be in the BBC shirt either, but I'm just going to let that go.
That was because I was still. No, why was that?
I don't know. But you invited Talia, and I love Talia. But
I know that was because I was in panto with
because you made
Talia.
new friends.
Maybe
that's
you
why
had a pregnancy scare or
I
something.
know. I was like, she's talking
Never.
about babies. She'll probably.
Oh no,
have
I've never
one.
spoken about babies away.
know.
But yeah, I was part of the origin story. I was there for the table read, and then I was in the play, and now you're never getting rid of me.
Yeah. Now we've made a fucking podcast. Lovely. Thank
Why
you.
did you cry this week, Hannah?
I was getting to that. Thank you. Who's hosting this podcast? I actually have a really nice one for why I've cried this
Aw.
week. So Ashley Story, who is
Oh, yeah.
a comedian. Do we have to say comedian? Comedian.
Comedian.
She's a funny person. Do you know who Ashley Story is?
Comedian.
That's
yeah,
like
that's
what they
what the
used to do.
female.
She's a
like,
comedian.
Comedian.
I've never used
I have
that.
never heard
Have
of
you
that.
never
I have
heard that?
never heard of that in
No,
my
I've always
life.
just
No.
been like, oh, she's a
Comedian.
That ages me slightly. That I'm like,
I've
comedian.
never heard of that.
Yeah.
Ah, well.
Anyway, but she's a really funny person. She's got Dinosaur that's out now.
It's hysterical.
I've still not watched it.
So Tara was invited, our friend Tara, who we've discussed before, was invited along to the premiere of the first 2 episodes, and she invited me along. It's hysterical.
Oh, good.
Wait,
I
I
need to
do know
watch it.
about this.
It's
because
really, really good.
My mum kept getting baby reindeer and dinosaur mixed up. And she kept calling it fucking baby dinosaur.
That's funny. No, so Ashley a couple of years ago was finally diagnosed with autism, and she sort of went like, this is what I am, and this makes a lot of sense, and like all this sort of stuff. And I'd met her a bunch of times through like people, and she did one of the BBC short sketches of Sad Girls Club that was not released. How dare BBC? I know I got paid for it though, so that's fine. I know exactly, got their money. But yeah, so I've met her a few times and all this sort of stuff, and then I don't know if it's because I'm a bit of a weird person as well that I was like, okay, she's a bit of a weird person, great friends, like. But yeah, so that's what like Dinosaur's about, is like being a woman with autism and all this sort of stuff. And she put out this thing, and it was lovely and funny and sad all at the same time. It was literally on her Instagram stories, and I think she just sort of went like, oh, I'll just say something funny on Instagram stories and tell a wee story. And she had one of those filters on of a mustache on her. But then she like sort of dipped into like quite like, it was her talking about, she was like, oh, I'm a person who like she realises now it's like info dumping is what she does. And if she hadn't seen a friend for ages in school, say she hadn't seen a friend all weekend, she'd see her on Monday and just talk at her about everything she did at the weekend and blah, 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 blah. And she was like, oh, look at this funny story. And then she was like, yeah. And then that friend told me she didn't want to be friends with me anymore because I never ask about her. And I've just sort of realised as an adult, like, I guess that's like the problem with me in general. And like, I just want people to know, like, I am trying, and like me talking at you is me actually wanting to talk to you and like all this sort of stuff. And I'm never this person, but I literally like, I messaged back to it, and we're not super close friends or anything like that, but we like know each other enough. And I just was like, just to let you know, this is a bit of me. This is completely me, and I'm not autistic or anything like that, but got a bit of the spicy brain. I realised like dyslexia and like adult women, there's a lot of things that I think is my personality that is not my personality, that it is dyslexia. And I was like, my big thing is birthdays. Like, the information is not there until like the week of a birthday. And then I'll get told that like, oh, I didn't think it through enough, or like, oh, you forgot the card, or you forgot, maybe this is just my family I'm talking about. But like, my family use the phrase, and they'll deny this to like till they die, is they like to use the phrase, that's such a Hannah thing to do. Which is like when I was growing up and I would forget, or I'd break something, or I'd be clumsy, or all these things that we didn't realise was like sort of neurodiversity in women. It was just like, oh, Hannah's a bit weird. And it was like me being like, you know what I mean? Like I'd go out and I'd buy somebody something for their birthday, but I'd get the wrong size or something like that. And I'd be like, oh yeah, it's such a Hannah thing to do. Like that sort of thing. So I like text her this thing, and I was like, I do not expect you to message back to this, but like just to let you know, like,
Yeah.
Same babes.
same. And I was crying when I when I watched it, but that got a bit
That's
deep.
nice. So that's cathartic.
Did she say
Yeah.
all of that like deep and meaningful stuff with the mustache on her face?
Oh, fully with the mustache on her face.
Amy, you regularly use the mustache filter,
I love the mustache
and it
filter.
kills me every time because
Yeah.
you really actually suit it.
I know, that's the thing. I know.
Like when you post a video without the mustache, I'm like, oh,
Oh.
that's
It doesn't look her
This is not
usual
funny.
self. Maybe I'll
ugly.
start wearing the stick-on ones because I do actually.
Do the millennial.
Oh, the
Tattoo.
tattoo.
Mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why did people get that?
I don't know.
Yeah. So funny. Oh, so good.
Amy, what have you cried about?
I went to see Life of Pi in the theatre.
was it good?
It's probably one of the best things I've seen.
Oh,
Is it like
And,
puppets?
And man, did I, every time a fucking animal died, I was like, oh my God. Honestly, I sat,
I know they're all like metaphors for like his family.
yeah. Fucking forget it, man. Honestly, by the end, I had a migraine driving home. I brought my friend Rowan, and I was like, ha, when I went to see this when I was younger with my dad, I pure cried the whole way through it, ha. And then at the end, I was literally like, what the fuck? It was so good. And I work in the theatres as well, and there's a guy that works there behind the bar, and I went, I've just cried the whole way through that. He was like that. I thought it was like a shite version of the Muppets. I was like, don't say that. And then every time I see him, he goes, but
I remember coming out of Billy Elliot in London, which so good. And I was like, I think it was like the second time I'd seen it, and I was like, oh my God, it was amazing, like blah blah blah. And I just heard this one woman behind me be like, it was all right. And I remember being like, who are
I
you?
just
Like,
loved it. It was so visually beautiful, like the sets, the story, the script, everything was just perfect. And not like the story was emotional, but then see when theatres they just nail it. I just get emotional because it's just so good. I just love when
and something's
theatre is so good.
like art on stage that is then like palatable, and it's not going like, oh look at me,
It's not wanky. It's actually very
And I
clever.
felt so like anxious
because you go,
sitting
oh
in
please
it.
don't.
But
Yeah.
anyways, have
What you
you
sad
cried?
about, Hannah?
I've not actually cried.
Have you not? Well, you're not feeling great today.
Yeah, to be fair, I do feel pretty
There
great
is
today.
time yet.
But I've had quite a nice week actually. I was in the Lake District with my mum and dad last week. It was quite a sort of impromptu thing. But we've been going to the same cottage since I've been 6. So that's now 21 years, which makes me feel very old.
Oh, shut up.
But it was lovely. It was really nice. I got to hold a lemur.
Love lemurs.
Where was that?
Just in the Lake District.
Like, what, just kicking about
Lemurs kicking about?
There's wild lemurs in the Lake District.
No, there's not.
For a minute,
I know, but I'm going. But
I'm
No,
going.
so there's a very small zoo that we've gone to like nearly every year we've been going. So occasionally they'll be like, oh, you're too old. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to go. So we all went this year. And for my dad's birthday, he adopts an animal. And this year my mum went, do you want to do like a keeper experience or something different? So we went to go in with the lemurs and we got to feed them and pat them.
cute.
And it was so wholesome. It was very, very nice. And they're quite friendly. You could stroke them.
Yeah, lemurs are cool.
Yeah, we go to Dunkeld up in Perth. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like we went like every single year since I was wee.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything that cool, but we have the ospreys, which my
Oh,
dad used
right.
to take us to,
Yeah.
and which is a type of bird.
It's like a bird.
No, I'm
you
just
were like,
listening. Sorry, I'm just listening.
You have mistaken a pheasant for a rooster before. So,
Me, have I?
yeah, when we went to your boss's spooky house. And
Oh,
To
it
be fair, that was a treacherous journey. I was probably hallucinating more than I
there was a
was.
rooster
You
in
had-
the road.
You had just passed your driving test.
Yeah.
Fucking made
and
me drive to Stirling.
You were driving. It wasn't Stirling. It was. It
was just like
I seen a sign that said "Welcome to Stirling."
Stirlingshire.
Is there like up a mountain somewhere? Like,
But it is
Top
like
Gear.
really like hard country roads, and you were driving at night,
A Nissan Micra, 2007.
that's a good
and you were
car,
like, "I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die. I'm
Yeah.
gonna die."
Have you cried?
I cried with laughter, because gals, I finally watched Twilight.
Yeah, no, I did see this.
Yes.
And I cried with laughter because I was watching it with my group of friends that are called Honners. It was Amy, Laura, and Neve's birthday, and what they wanted more than anything was to watch me watch Twilight for
I
the
get
first
that.
time.
The best present
And
of all.
We were just laughing at how ridiculous the whole thing was.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
not
making
gonna lie.
Paul laugh
Yeah,
behind
even
that curtain
producer
there. I
Paul's
can
like,
hear him
yep,
giggling.
yep. It was just, I mean,
It's
Yep.
so bad.
my
No,
reviews.
I like.
No,
I know it's
I'm gonna
bad.
get behind it. It's not even bad. It was culturally significant.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
It's
I will
changed
agree
the
with
game
that.
for
It's a
everything.
cult. It'll probably go down as a
It's
cult
a cult.
classic.
Yeah.
It is a
Can I
cult.
just say as well, like
many
any other,
issues.
oh my god, how are we back on this? So any other show that is or like book series that's been adapted or anything like that have tried to do what Twilight has done has failed fucking miserably. Same with Harry Potter. I know we don't like JK, but the movies in
Absolute
general.
JK.
She's a JK, an absolute
No, but any other potential franchise that has tried to do what Twilight and Harry Potter have done
You
have
try
not
and
came
get
fucking
Kristen
close.
Stewart in a film about that.
But the books,
I don't know where I was
Where were
going
you
with
going?
that. I don't really know. I don't really know.
Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
No, that was pre those things.
Who cares? Lord of the
I
Rings
love
when you
Lord
get
of the Rings.
Fellow
Twilight.
Twilight viewers. There you go.
What was your favourite bit? Can you quote anything?
The end.
Oh no, right, I can't quote anything, but see the bit I was just like, get me the fuck out of here, is when they're in the forest and he's like, sing it out loud. And she's a vamp. And then he fucking puts
Vampire.
her on his back and he's like up the hill. I'm like, he does a zoom me up the hill and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
That was
And then when
Then
he's
he
like, then he goes up to the fucking top of the mountain and he's like,
Takes his
takes
top
off his and he's
no,
fucking.
you're missing out the best bit. that
He's
it's
a glitter ball. He's a
no,
fucking
you're
glitter
missing out
ball.
the best bit
How
where he's
long
like,
have you been 17?
a while. No, it's like the bit where he goes up and he's like, I'm the most natural predator, like as if you could outrun me, as if you could fight me off, and then like throws a branch. I could do the full fucking
No,
movie
me
for you here.
Oh, that was the bit.
Oh, we
anyway.
really need to shut up.
Oh,
Women of the Week.
yes, but what genre is?
Oh, we need to pick you a genre for you
Yeah.
to
Pick a
sing.
genre.
Could you do like a Paramore inspired Woman of the Week intro?
Fuck, I don't know if I'm getting the voice for that.
I know you're not well.
You
could veto and then you have to do the next one.
Okay, let's save Paramore because I'm feeling a bit ill.
Okay, anybody else got another idea?
Could you do like a kind of cabaret style, Liza Minnelli?
Oh, you're loving cabaret at the moment.
Woman of the
No, you need to do that with your hat.
What's it supposed to say? It's like, woman of the week.
Beautiful. And it's also you who has
As
to
me,
say
so as Iowa Debris. Because she's just so funny and good, and well, the bear is coming out.
Could you play the voice note of your
She'll
friend?
be so pleased with this.
Yeah. Because Amy, of
She's-
course, was trying to do our research and didn't want to
Trying to
pronounce,
background check as
didn't
well.
want to
So she's
pronounce
part
anybody's
of-
name
she's
wrong.
Part of Artist Ceasefire as well, but apart from that, she's also just.
She's in the bear. We
She's
fucking
in the
love
bear.
the bear.
She's just so talented.
Oh,
and
that's who she
yeah,
is.
Oh, did you not know who
she's
we're
in,
talking
she's in
about?
Bottoms.
I know.
which
I
is
did.
like
I
one
knew
of
the name, and I went, "Oh, I kind of know who she is."
Is she
but I was
not in
going,
Inside Out too?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's an Inside Out too.
Envy.
She plays
This is
Envy and
what
she's so
my
cute.
friend said.
I think it is Ayu.
Let's me try to pronounce it.
She's queer.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Is fucking hot.
She's fucking hot. She's just all round really cool.
Yeah, she's class.
And she's
An incredible act.
hilarious.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. So yeah, if you don't know her, check her out. She's really funny and cool. And
She was
sexy.
really good on SNL. I really liked her on
Yeah, she's
SNL.
so good on SNL.
She's got the TikTok noise of her now where it's like,
She's Irish.
oh, this is the best
Lore. This is lore. This is
Actual
lore, the real lore.
So I don't know why.
we need to shut up though. We
I
do.
don't, but quickly, but I don't know why, but she said in an interview that she was filming Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
Or she said she was in it and they were pure, like, I think the interviewer didn't know she was joking. And she was like, yeah, who did you play? And she was like, oh, I played the donkey in Banshees of
I was
Inisherin.
Colin Farrell.
And she was like, it was great, like, you know, like I really like method acted it, and like because I'm obviously from Ireland as well. Like she does this.
She's like,
the
shout out to
longest-
Cork, shout out to Donegal.
but, like American actress, like it's too funny. And now anywhere she go, like Irish people will be like, "You're one of us.
You're one
now."
of us.
Like they
Yeah.
have claimed her.
Long live
But
Iowa
anyway,
Debris.
guys, that was some deep lore. I don't think I think that was all like cliff notes of the lore as well. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I would like to point out that we do film these all a lot out of order. So actually, we've filmed a lot of these and recorded a lot of these, but actually tomorrow is the first
one's
podcast
coming out.
actually
Whoop,
goes out.
Yippee.
So that's exciting and scary, and so we don't know if you guys will still be listening to it after the first one goes out. But if you liked it, please follow us on Instagram at the Sad Girls Club 2024. We've got a TikTok now.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Leave reviews anywhere
Yeah.
on Google Maps.
One thing that's really good about Sad Girls Club is, like, with the show in particular, is people pass us round to their friends pretty much. They see us they find their friend, they go, my friend's going to love this, blah, 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 blah. So please do that with this podcast. Does anybody want it? You got an outro for us?
Have a lovely week.
Okay,
thanks,
bye.
bye.
Bye.